So here we are again, another home series win for India. I think we really don't need to spend much time on this episode because I think we can literally cut bits of our previous reviews of the Test series and play them again because it's same old India. Another at the end of it, a convincing win. England looked good in patches and then collapsed and flopped again. And also towards the end of the video, we'll cover a bit of what's been happening in the PSL and Babar Azam finally getting 100 and all of that. But but let's start in Ranchi, I think it was, where the fourth test was. Moin, same old?
No, actually, I think it's the opposite. I think England suddenly uh, second guessed their baseball approach in the second innings. I think that's what happened. If you go and look at the number of balls faced against the number of runs, it starts looking like a Pakistani scorecard. I'm surprised at how that approach that has served them so well just went out of the window in no time. You know, like the first innings, they were in command. We said at the start England needed to win the toss and Joe Root needed to come to the party. Both things happened, and they were well placed. And then suddenly the pressure told. I think it was the criticism they've got in the press about baseball, and they started second guessing their approach. When we've said from the start, it's not the intent that's wrong. The intent is far better than it was. I mean, you can see the results now versus when Joe Root was captain. The issue was just the fact that the execution was poor, and they used to get out to city shots and city, and just rush of blood to the head. But here you had they just went into their shell. It was like it at a complete extreme at the other end. And with that in mind, you need to make the most of every scoring opportunity you get, i.e., every ball that isn't your wicket taking ball. And that's what they didn't do. They let the bowlers settle. Ashwin was brilliant. I mean, really. And, I'm really glad Ashwin got it because I think Ashwin has been under the, he's, I think, been a bit unfairly treated from time to time. He's been really unlucky to miss out in limited overs. Some people questioning his ability as an all-round player, but I'm so glad he's found that great success in Test cricket. And I think India deserved winners. I just think England were just not good enough.
Yeah. And also, you talk about the approach that England obviously had, slightly different from the pass ball approach. But, Joe Root, we discussed in the previous test match how he made a couple of silly shots to get out. This time, he actually played the Joe Root way and got 100 in the first innings. So I guess it worked for him, but not for the rest of the team. And I guess if you mentioned the point around, obviously India were phenomenal. And I think what really makes this specific victory special is whatever questions that you may have had before the test match, India answered. Bumrah was unavailable. They won without him. England won the toss, batted first, put up a decent score in the first innings. India were well behind in this in the first innings. They were 170 for 7 or something, and then I think it was Kuldeep Yadav and the new wicketkeeper Joel, I think his name is, who was actually man of the match, got them close in the first innings, and then we actually ended up helping them chase it down. So whatever questions were asked, any doubts, India were well up to it and responded. Even in the second innings, where they were 80 for no loss to 120 for 5, and then they ended up still winning it quite comfortably in the end. So look, I mean, yeah, hats off to India. I mean, the question really is now, when will India ever lose a test series at home?
You don't have Virat Kohli in that team.
Exactly.
Look at your number 3, 4, 5, 6. Please look at your 3. How many test matches have they played in total?
Yeah.
I mean, it's staggering that on one end you have other teams that talk a lot about how it's a young team but look at India. I mean, and Rohit Sharma is your most experienced batter, but let's all remember that he wasn't even a sort of a test player until like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? He wasn't even close to the test fold. You have Gill at 3, you have Patidar, I think his name is at 4, Safra's at 5,
Yeah.
and then you've got
Jadeja, yeah.
Jadeja at 6. Who, come on, like, Jadeja is a very handy utility player, but he's
Yeah.
not like a middle order stalwart.
And they sent him
Then
at 5 a couple of times. I think, in fact, in this test match as well, they sent him at 5 for the right
yeah,
left
yeah.
combination. So
And you realize that, I mean, the bench strength is unreal, and the fact that look, it's very we've seen it many times that debutants come in and score well in their
yeah.
first few outings, especially they make their debuts at home. I get it, it's not unusual. But what is unusual is that when you have positions where you're like, nothing for 5 wickets down for not many runs on the board, and you
Yeah.
need to show character, right?
Yeah.
That's when experience counts. That's when you're like, okay, like, can they hold their nerve? Maybe not. And they'd be excused for not doing that. And I think you even saw that in the field as well, when India really had their back to the wall. But the character they showed, it was almost as if they're used to those high pressure situations. And I have to say, Rohit Sharma captained brilliantly, and everything just fell to plan so well. I mean, like, everyone will talk about the wicketkeeper, but man, like Safraz Khan, like, he's not the fittest guy around, but just look at him. Like, the shots that he plays, it's like, why hasn't he been playing Test cricket all this time? Like, you know what I mean? Like, um, I think, it's really positive signs for India. I think it's clear, after losing the first Test match, they are undisputedly one of the top two teams in the world. Now, I know I'm judging them on their home soil, but given the character they've shown, I mean, and the bench strength they have, they don't need a Bumrah or a Kohli to play in order, or even both of them to play in order to win. So it's great. But I will come back to England for a second, right? I think there were times when England gifted the momentum
Yeah.
the other side, right? I think they made a couple of mistakes. I actually think, was it the right selection? The bowling attack in particular. Shoaib Rashid was brilliant. I don't know why he was dropped from the Test match before, but they didn't have Mark Wood, right?
Yeah.
Would Could they have benefited from that extra pace? Maybe. Sometimes I think people take this rotation a bit too far.
Yeah.
You play your best team that wins you the game, right? Mark Wood,
Yeah.
he should be able to play at least 2 Test matches on the trot.
Yeah. I mean, they played Ollie Robinson, who didn't even bowl in the second innings. So, I mean, literally, you're carrying a passenger. You're playing with 10 players. What's the point?
What's the
You might
point?
as well play an extra batsman instead then.
Yeah, it's you're playing two players that are identical, right?
Yeah.
Like, and honestly, I find it quite baffling, right? If you have a express pace bowler one end, a swing bowler the other end, you're always going to be a lot better, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's just I think Jimmy or Ollie Robinson's a bit overrated, if I'm honest. People will criticize me for that, but I generally think
Yeah.
so. Take these bowlers outside of English conditions, then tell me how good they are.
Yeah. True. No, I think England could have done a lot better, but I guess it is what it is. I mean, there's not much more that we can say that we've not said over the course of the last few Test matches. I think that the last match is more of a formality. I don't think England can get anything out of it. To be honest, it's really for India and the World Test Championship points, and can they make it to another final? But I think apart from that, I think it's just a
But Zayed, I
formality.
don't know whether you noticed how low England are. Despite playing such riveting cricket, England are like at the bottom of the World Test Championship, and the reason for that is because their their rise started during the
Yeah,
old championship cycle, but because the first half of the old cycle was so poor that there was
yeah,
no way they were out of the race for the finals. So that meteoric rise didn't really count for
yeah,
much. And then when you get to the new cycle, you've had really instances of brilliance, but they haven't really won many Test series, and
yeah.
that's
I mean,
and
they
that's
drew the
just
Ashes. Yeah, they drew the Ashes, and then they lost here. So,
yeah, exactly.
so for all the fantastic cricket they've played, yeah, they've got nothing to show for it in terms of the table so far. But time will tell. I think India should make it again, and then it's going to be a fight between the others how they Australia maybe, but let's see. Anyways, let's move on to the PSL. There's been some interesting performances. I mean, I don't
I
know.
don't
I
know how
mean,
to make
we've
sense of it.
seen.
I don't know.
Can I
I don't
just
know
say,
how to
like,
make
it's incredible in the last 2 days, and we were talking about the Multan Lahore game, and then was it Peshawar Islamabad the day before? We've had two leg spinners take 11 wickets between them. One of them took 4 wickets in an over. I don't know, like it's just a universally known fact now that regardless of who you are in Pakistan, you just can't play leg spin.
and it's
Even the
so
most
sad.
average Osama Mir, who went for absolute tons of runs, is taking a 6 4. I don't know if it's the quality of the batting or the bowling.
Man,
Um,
see, this is why now I don't know what to expect when I watch the PSL. Right? You've got Azam Khan who is just breaking records and hitting 73, and then he averages 3 runs in international cricket. Look, let's start with leg spin. Okay,
yeah,
Osama Mir apparently has made some adjustments to his approach to the crease. His apparently, I was reading the article of his bowling coach, and it seemed as if he was sort of he wasn't going through his delivery stride as smoothly as he should have. He wasn't making optimizing his body and his bowling action. Blah blah blah. I'm going to say it here. Rubbish. You see him in international cricket. This is going to propel him into selection in the World Cup, and he is going to be absolutely decimated. Please record this, okay? This could age so badly if Osama Mir ends up being man of the series in the World Cup. But somehow,
uh,
I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to say he is going to be absolutely slaughtered at the international level. I just don't rate him. There's all this crap about bowling action. Yeah, maybe it has improved, but it's the quality.
yeah,
Nobody knows that. Look at Shadab Khan. Like he's become a whiz kid now suddenly. you know, it's like
yeah,
it's like you know, Imad Wasim, all these players. Like I'm sorry to say, our spin attack is
yeah,
perhaps the poorest in the world. And the reason for that is everyone is so obsessed with pace in Pakistan. You've got pace
yeah,
academies every left, right, and center. How many spin academies do you have in the country? Please tell me. You have some batting academies, obviously, because you need batting.
yeah,
How many spin academies do you have? Barely any. There is
yeah,
zero, zero, zero incentive for a player spinner to like take up the international game and improve his game, etc. Where's the Glenn Mushtaq? Where is Mushtaq Ahmed? Like everybody idolizes the Wasim and the Wakars of this world. Where are all the others? So look, that's the culture we find ourselves in, right? And nothing can improve.
yeah,
And on the other side, because you don't have high quality spinners, you don't have batters who can play spin. Simple as. It's a self fulfilling prophecy. It's a double. It's like a mutually reinforcing thing. You have good spinners, you will make better batters. You have good bowlers, fast bowlers, you make
yeah.
even better batters. There you go.
Yeah, no, it's pretty appalling how bad some of the I don't know. It's ended up meaning we've had a few entertaining games, but this time I'm seriously questioning the quality of the PSL, especially if you look at some of the performances. I mean, there's Mohammad Ali, who's like a medium pace test bowler for Multan. He's probably one of the best PSL bowlers. But he's a 40, he's like a proper 40, he's like a Mohammad Abbas type bowler. So he's come in with his old fashioned
Like,
line and length and taken wickets and not gone for many. But it's strange. But, and despite all of that, obviously Babar Azam has done well, but, Fakhar Zaman has been pretty poor. Um,
like what is it?
I mean,
One,
Haider
two,
Ali, I don't know, like, I can't believe this guy was like part of the
the,
international team like less than 2 years ago. The fall
the
has been.
zero of one ball, that golden duck. I promise you, I don't want him anywhere close to the international stage. I can't believe I ever thought he was a talented player. Like he's just so poor. Look, Azam Khan is another one. Like
Yeah,
brilliant at PSL, but I call him like we say PSL bully. Like
yeah,
at the international stage, you need the level of fitness that he doesn't have, and it's just really, really poor.
yeah,
But
yeah,
speaking of you know players, the international quality players, of course, Babar Azam.
yeah.
But did you see that incident where the crowd was calling him Zimbabwe, and he
Yeah.
threatened to throw his water bottle at the crowd. I've never seen him lose a school like that. And that tells me, Zahid, it's a really sad time for Pakistan
Yeah.
cricket, because you can tell he is really affected, right?
Yeah.
He it's not about the chance that has caused him to have that reaction.
Yeah.
It's like stamp collection. It's like he's got so many issues and so many things on his mind that chant just pushed him over the edge. It's like that last
Yeah.
icing on the cake, that last
Yeah.
nail in the coffin. And he just
Yeah.
lost his school, and I just feel like he's going through a lot,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's losing the captaincy, his own form,
Yeah.
his own fitness. But I'm going to say one thing. Mohammad Hafiz, I'm looking at you. Muhammad Hafiz is sitting on the pavilion and making these claims about how Babar Azam and Mickey Arthur forewent all these fitness regimes and stuff. Firstly, I find that really hard to believe that Mickey Arthur would do that, right? Mickey Arthur brought fitness into Pakistan in 2016. But I was like, why say these things? I mean, are you just bitter that you're no longer the director? Like, these
Simple.
things, like, obviously is the case, but like, you
Yeah.
know, we have to just take a step back here, right? Like, yes, fitness has gone down, but I don't think Babar Azam, one player, and a
Yeah.
foreign coach are to blame for it. I mean, you blame the infrastructure that's around them, right?
Exactly.
We live in this world where we think one man, one coach, one person holds the keys to Pakistan's fortunes. I wish we grew up from that mentality, both politically, cricket, football, anything you think about when it comes to Pakistan. There's one person that will save the day. But anyways, I'm sorry I have brought the lecture. Oh my god, I should have done that. But anyways, that's
Yeah,
I think
it's the finding Messiah approach. I think you always look for other people to come and save the day when you can't fix it yourself. But that's a different debate. The other thing I'd like to mention is Pakistan cricket. They have a habit of picking players on the basis of their one-off PSL form. And this time, I guess not players, but I guess time will tell. But they also ended up picking a captain based on his PSL form because Shaheen Afridi back-to-back PSL wins. Now he's become captain of the national team and he's lost 4-1, 6-0. I don't know what else. And now,
I'm
yeah,
so
he just.
glad. I'm so glad you brought this up. That's what I wanted to talk about. Now, you are chasing 200, okay? You have a chance, right? You want actually a pretty decent position, 145, and you've just lost your fourth wicket or something. You have got a player in your ranks that has hit 4 sixes in 4 balls to win a World Cup final. And somebody who like single-handedly has taken West Indies close to the finishing line, even the 2019 World Cup, like scored that crazy 100 or
Yeah,
whatever. And I'm talking about Carlos Brathwaite, remember the
yeah.
name.
Somebody didn't
And
remember the
you
name.
don't play him in, and you bring some random Pakistani in at number 6 because you wanted to just keep that left right hand combination and make use of a shorter boundary. Come on. You only adopt that approach when you've got players of similar ability and quality. Only then does
Yeah,
that come into play. But when you've got someone who can hit and clear any boundary in the world versus an amateur, the choice is clear. Brathwaite, poor guy, remember the name? I call him remember the name. Remember the name came in with what? How many balls left in the game? He hit what? Two,
yeah,
1-6, 1-4, and
yeah.
like, and I'm so glad he hit that six because he's like, why the fuck am I even in Pakistan? Like, why am I here? You know, like it was
Yeah.
absolutely
Clearly,
shocking.
clearly, Shaheen forgot the name.
He
Didn't
clearly forgot the
really.
name. He clearly forgot who was sitting in his right. I mean, right left hand combination. Go and take that as long as you want. Yet then why not send himself? Shaheen Afridi. Imagine Shaheen Afridi coming in
Well,
ahead
he
of
did send
Carlos
in
Brathwaite.
today's game against it was similar, well, not a similar situation, but yeah, they need like 80 runs in 5 overs, and he sent himself at 6 again above Brathwaite and everyone.
I mean, like,
So
what? What's wrong with you? Like, it's crazy, and
yeah,
it's just, he'll have to learn, right? But the
yeah,
unfortunate thing is he hasn't learned. He's done it twice now.
yeah. So
But there you go.
I don't know what his thinking is. It's strange. I mean, it doesn't help. Obviously, his team is not performed. Obviously, Rashid Khan not playing has really exposed the bowling attack. Haris Shroff has continued to be his pretty awful worst, but he got injured, so fingers crossed he does get fit for his sake. But his performances haven't been up to it at all. Uh,
I really think people just look back. People used to criticize Ramiz Raja as chairman. Can someone just take a step back and think of how much the fortunes of Pakistan cricket have completely changed since Ramiz Raja left the post? Yes, he got it wrong with the pitches in Pakistan being made so flat and dead. But look at how much he got right. The one thing Pakistan had going for it, even though not every result went our way, was a sense of unity, a
yeah,
sense of belief that somewhere we've got the makings of a world beating side. That's all dissipated. You don't feel
yeah,
that players are out of form, and you've got players who are clearly not united anymore. Clearly, people are not in the right mental frame of mind. Oh, mental frame, mental state. People, you have ex-players
yeah.
the likes of Umar Gul and all making these crazy statements, and it's chaos, right? And people say, I hate it when people say, "Oh, Pakistan thrives on chaos." Please, when please tell me
Yeah.
how many trophies have we won? Right? People say, "Oh, but we made it to the semi-final." I don't care. You know, how many trophies have we won recently, barring 2017? Which, by the way, we were not under chaos in 2017. Surprise Ahmed had a good hold. That was a united team and a fit team. Okay, we lost to India and then we propelled our way. Please tell me when. Like, I hate that narrative. Please stop. Like, anyone who says, "Oh, Pakistan thrives when we don't," please. Pakistan hasn't thrived since 1998. Okay, like let's just call a spade a spade. Okay, so let's just
Yeah.
say that, like, you're never gonna see success until all this changes. And I actually, yes, I think Babar Azam should have been removed as captain, but I just think the way that everything is done, like Haris Rauf getting slapped with a massive like penalty, all these things, everything is an extreme. And when everything
Yeah.
is an extreme, you're going to have players who are just thinking for themselves because they don't want to know whether they'll still be relevant in a few months' time. That's a terrible place to be.
It's a very somber note, but I guess a sad but somber note to finish things on. Obviously, the promise and the fantastic performance that India has shown in the Test series to the rather somber performance of Pakistan. Well, Pakistan versus Pakistan in the PSL. But I think this is the year when I think a lot of the speculation that we've had about the PSL bullying and the inflation of PSL stats has been exposed. Only time
Yeah,
will tell in the Cricket World Cup.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna just end with a bit of philosophical note. I've actually been wondering why Pakistan has this sort of messiah complex, or this one chairman, or this one person who thinks he can just change everything. Even I sometimes think that if I were made chairman, I'd remove this and make what I think works. But I'm like, what is wrong with that mentality? Why does Pakistan have it? And I think it's a lot deeper than cricket. I think Pakistan, unfortunately, is a country that was born out of instability, chaos, and we've always tried to gravitate to a savior or an authority
Yeah,
that can help get us out of trouble, right? So then what you have is that dissipates into every facet of society, including sports, right? So we got Imran. Even before Imran, people forget, like, even before Imran Khan, we had personalities. We had Kardar, we had, and Pakistan cricket is written, like, even if you read Usman Samiuddin's book, The Unquiet Ones, it's all about personalities, right? And if you look across the border, we look to even other countries, Australia, England, it's always the wider institutions, right? Imagine Ashley Giles was a director. I mean, Ashley Giles, that guy who was the ultimate passenger in the Ashes series of 2005, was like the one guy who, along with Andrew Strauss, were like instrumental in England's surge. And then you had Rob Key now, right? I mean, people who are nothing, no offense, but like nothing in cricket. But it's because it's the institution that they represent that is so strong that they don't need personalities to like change the country's fortunes.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. But that's just the way Pakistan is and the way Pakistan cricket is. I guess that's just how it's going to be. So on that note, I think that is it for this episode of Gully to Gully. Thank you for watching. As always, please do subscribe to our channel and stay in touch. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, Zach. Thanks.